Fighter jets today are at the cutting edge of technology and represent some of the most technologically advanced and sophisticated pieces of machinery ever built by man. Speed is one of the main features that every modern fighter jet must possess in order to remain relevant on the modern battlefield. However, speed alone is no longer the defining factor on the modern battlefield. That has at least partially been replaced by stealth. For example, the F-22 Raptor is the slowest fighter jet on this list, and yet it is perhaps the most potent air superiority fighter jet in the world today. Here are the top 10 fastest fighter jets today. Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor, 1500 mph. The F-22 Raptor is a fifth-generation air supremacy fighter and it quite possibly the most advanced fighter jet of its sort in the world today. The F-22 Raptor was developed exclusively for the United States Air Force, and it is so advanced that the U.S. has maintained an export ban on this aircraft. While the Air Force was planning to procure a few thousand of these fighter jets, the program was cancelled due to costs and a lack of perceived enemies in the world that would require a fifth-generation air supremacy fighter jet. In the end, only 187 operational F-22 Raptors were built. Being one of the slowest to the fastest fighter jets to make this list, one can see how it relies more on stealth than speed to win the day. Convair F-106, 1526 mph. The Convair F-106 Delta Dart was developed for the U.S. Air Force and was a primary all-weather interceptor aircraft. They were introduced in the 1960s and used through to the 1980s during the Cold War. They have all long since been retired. Grumman F-14 Tomcat, 1544 mph. The F-14 Tomcat was developed for the United States Navy and featured predominantly in Tom Cruise's movie Top Gun. They were developed in the 1970s and finally retired from the Navy in 2006 after having seen 712 airplanes produced. Interestingly, they remain in service today in the Iranian Air Force. The United States Navy has replaced the F-14 with the F-18s. The F-14 were a great fighter jet in their time and were world famous for their highly distinctive variable sweep wings. They were developed as an interceptor, air superiority, and multi-role fighter. Eurofighter Typhoon, 1544 mph. The only European-made fighter jet to make this list, the Eurofighter Typhoon is a multi-role fighter, although it was originally designed to perform more of an air superiority role. Today, it is in service in the British, German, Italian, and Spanish Air Forces and has seen some 571 Typhoons produced up to the end of 2020. The Typhoon is known to be highly agile and extremely effective in dogfighting. Sukhoi Su-27 Flanker, 1600 mph. The Sukhoi Su-27 is a Soviet-built super-maneuverable fighter jet and was designed to counter the US's fourth-generation fighters like the F-15 Eagle and F-14 Tomcat. It was designed for air superiority missions and was intended to work alongside the MiG-29. Of the 680 built, the majority remain in service in the Russian Air Force as well as a number of other air forces around the world. McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, 1650 mph. In addition to the super-advanced, albeit slower, fifth-generation F-22 Raptor, the F-15 Eagle is the United States Air Force's other air supremacy fighter jet. And despite being a much older fighter jet than the F-22, it is also much cheaper and remains in production today. One of the F-15's claims to fame includes being among the most successful modern fighter jets. So much so that it has claimed over 100 aerial combat victories against other planes with no losses in turn. Most of these kills have been with the Israeli Air Force. MiG-31 Foxhound, 1,900 mph. The MiG-25 was developed by the Soviet Union back in the 1960s and was among the very fastest military aircraft to ever enter service in the world. Today, most of the MiG-25s, aka Foxbat, have retired and have been largely replaced by the MiG-31. The MiG-31 was based on the MiG-25. The MiG-31 also sits among the fastest combat jets in the world and is expected to remain in service in the Russian Air Force until 2030. Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, 2,500 mph. And the winner is the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird. Yes, it's not a fighter jet but still the fastest military aircraft. This was a long-range, high-altitude, strategic reconnaissance aircraft developed back in the 1960s and saw service in both the U.S. Air Force and with NASA. 32 of these super-fast and advanced jets were produced, and they have all since been retired. Ironic that the fastest military aircraft was designed back in the 1960s and are not in service today. Today stealth is more important than just plain speed. In summary, the Russians have the world's fastest fighter jets, but the Americans have the stealthiest.